Hello, welcome back to another fantasy football video. I hope everyone is doing fantastically well. Today, we're going to be looking at a limitless wildcard to take you into match day 3. Now, there is a lot to discuss with this limitless wildcard because there's a lot of potential rotation and just, who do you pick? If you're new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you do enjoy the video. Well, let's just go straight on into this one. So, as I said, there could be potentially quite a bit of rotation in this last game week. So, going for the likes of, say, Lukaku or Harry Kane is kind of at your own risk whether you think they will play. Obviously, someone like Lukaku going for the golden boot, but then obviously they're already through in that group playing against Finland, who they should get a decent result against. But as we have learned in match day 2, it's not only the teams that have the good fixtures, but it's the teams that kind of need to get the wins that those players from those teams are actually performing well. The likes of Yarmolenko, the likes of Gareth Bale, we saw do very well this week. So, with that being said, I think that firstly, I'm going to go for Cristiano Ronaldo up front. I don't think that Portugal are going to let off against France at all. I also think in that game, there is definitely still something to play for. As, not to big up England too much here, but whoever loses that game in Portugal-France will probably play England. And so I don't think either team particularly would want to face England. So I think that Cristiano Ronaldo could be a decent little pick for that game week. And you can see there, blanked out is Kira Immobile. Now, I'm going to refresh him in here. So I think Immobile will be going in there for me. I think the general thing with the Italians this week is just wait and see who lines up for them. It could be Belotti, it could be Immobile. But either way, I think going for one of the Italian attackers is a pretty good idea. One thing I will mention, though, is that you have got other strikers like Robert Lewandowski who, Poland are potentially going to really need to go for it in this final game week. So, Lewandowski, actually, you know what? Hell to it. I'm going to go Lewandowski in there because, you just realise they're going to be playing at Sweden. Depending on how their game goes today, I think it's against Slovakia. Oh no, is it Spain? It's Spain. So yeah, that could be a tough one for them. So I think that Sweden game will be a massive one for Poland. Lewandowski could come through, and as we've seen the likes of Bale, Yarmolenko, as mentioned, when their teams needed them, the big men have stepped up. Now, in terms of the last spot, as I said, you can go Immobile, you can go Belotti. I think that fixture that I'm really trying to target and hoping there's not too much rotation in, but there may well be, is the North Macedonia game where Memphis Depay plays, obviously, against North Macedonia. We saw how Austria tore them apart. We saw how Ukraine tore them apart. And if Depay plays in this game, I think he'll have an absolute field day. He's really got, if he wants to go at any outside chance of getting the golden boot, he needs to be on at the manager saying, I want to play this game, because he easily could go and pick up a hat-trick in this game. So that's kind of how the front three is lining up. And as I say, obviously the Italian guys, if you see someone in there that you really like, then just lob them in because we get to see the lineups. Now, in terms of the midfield, you can see one man there who is currently blanked out, who came on at halftime and had an absolute stormer against Denmark, and that's Kevin De Bruyne. And I do think that De Bruyne does start this game against Finland. He does kind of need the minutes. He needs to really get going. I mean, we saw in that game, he's already getting going. But yeah, Kevin De Bruyne for me, I think looks like a fantastic option considering the impact he had in just the one half of football that he did play. That being said, though, Finland, if they get a draw in that Belgium game, they go through effectively. They will 100% go through if they get a draw in that game. So Finland definitely have something to play for. Belgium are already through. If they want to guarantee the top place in that group, then obviously they still have to get at least 1 point. Even so, I still can see Kevin De Bruyne playing just to get the minutes under his belt. And I think also that another player that you can punt on from the Belgium side in the midfield is Eden Hazard. These two, when they came on, looked so good. Hazard just he looked closer to what he looked like when he played for Chelsea. The touches on the ball, the quick feet, just the smooth passing. One of the balls he played through to Lukaku was absolutely incredible. And yeah, I think that these two, Hazard and De Bruyne, I'd definitely be looking at kind of punting on for this final game against Finland. Now, in terms of the rest of the midfield, I think Yarmolenko, recover him there for me. You know, he's got an 8-pointer in the first game. He got 10 pointers in match day 2. Him and Yarmolenchuk came off at about the 60th, 70th minute, and they still have something to play for. They only have one win, so they're still going to at least need a draw going into that final game. They do play Austria, and I do think, having kind of watched both Ukraine and Austria, I think Ukraine definitely look like the better of those two sides. Yarmolenko, for me, does look like a pretty tidy option there in the midfield. Now, I'm going to recover Berardi here, but basically that Berardi spot is anyone from Insigne to Chiesa. It's just whatever Italian player is playing that we see in the lineup, you go for him. You know, I'd put Insigne there because it's the Limitless. Obviously, you want to kind of have the maximum amount of usage of the money, but as I say, it's just a placeholder. That could be Insigne, Chiesa, whoever. Now, in terms of the final spot for the midfield, we're going to go for that combination of what I think is a pretty solid team, a pretty decent team, and they have a good fixture. And I think Ivan Perisic, against Scotland, you know, Scotland have looked defensively pretty poor so far in the tournament. And yeah, for me, Perisic just looks like the man. He looks like the man for Croatia. If they're going to score, it probably will be through Perisic. It'll be interesting to see how they play against the Czech Republic today. But yeah, for me, Perisic goes in there. Now, in terms of the defence, same with Berardi. You know, we're just going to recover the Italian here. This could be Spinazzola, it could be Emerson, it could be absolutely anyone from the Italian defence. Just go with whoever plays on the day. Now, in terms of the other spots, I think for me there is a bit of a debate between Zinchenko and Munier. I think just because it's a potentially better defence, I'd be going for Munier more than I'd be going for Zinchenko. But Zinchenko is actually more guaranteed to play than Munier is. So depending on, you know, how you're looking to punt, will kind of take you towards, I guess, either Zinchenko or Munier. Both of whom can easily go and get the attacking output, which is kind of why I think many people, myself included, have both of them in their teams in match day 2, and maybe it'd be a good idea to have both of them in for match day 3 as well. You never know, but I think one man that's kind of got to go in there, even with a slight risk of rotation, after just how he has absolutely smashed it so far this tournament. I mean, currently, in the running for the Golden Boot, Denzel Dumfries scoring two goals so far in the tournament. Obviously playing against North Macedonia. If he starts, he could have another absolutely cracking game. And yeah, the way that he just bombs forward down that right hand side, yeah, he just looks unbelievable. I think many clubs will be looking to potentially purchase him in the summer transfer window. Then in terms of the last two spots, I think for me, I'm going for a Spanish defender, Jordi Alba. It's a simple pick, really. He looks very dangerous going down that left-hand side. In Spain, they look pretty defensively solid against a Slovakian side who, to be fair, managed to put 2 past Poland. And it'll be interesting to see how they do play today. But yeah, I think for me, Jordi Alba in there, pretty solid defence with the likes of Emerick Laporte in behind him and Ferran Torres, or Pau Torres, behind him. Jordi Alba, yeah, for me, goes in there at 6 bill. And then finally, we'll just recover here. The final defender spot would be Gosens. Now, with Germany, it's an interesting one because they're really going to have something to play for in this final game. So I do think a potential punt on someone like Kai Havertz or even someone like Müller could actually be a pretty decent idea because, as I say, you know, it's a good team playing against a poor opposition and they're really going to need to get a win. So that kind of concoction altogether will likely bring out some kind of good scores from players in that team. We are going to double up on Germany, and the second player is going to be the goalkeeper. My man Manuel Neuer is going to be coming in there for the goalkeeper, and I think the final spot we're just going to fill with the Belgium goalkeeper, Thibaut Courtois. If I can find Thibaut. Wait, hold on. Let me recover. Too many Belgian players. Of course, we've got De Bruyne, Meunier, and Eden Hazard in here. So, with that being said, I actually think that the Croatian goalkeeper is going to be one to go for. Obviously, playing against Scotland in that final game, Scotland didn't really look like scoring. And yeah, as you see, we're 14.9 million over budget, but this is a limitless draft, so that does not matter. Obviously, there are plenty of other things to consider. As I say, the Germans could go in there. You could get another Italian striker instead of the likes of Depay or the likes of Lewandowski. But as I say, we've kind of learned from match day 2 is that you want players who really kind of need to get a victory in their last game week. So I think Lewandowski, the likes of Gosens, the likes of Manuel Neuer, even the likes of Jordi Alba, or Perisic and Yarmolenko, those guys all really kind of need to put in a performance in the final game week for their teams to actually qualify and go through to the knockout stages. So if you have enjoyed this quick little look ahead to match day 3 at Limitless or Wildcard, please don't forget to hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you are new around here. Let me know any thoughts you have ahead of the match day 3 of Euros Fantasy, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.